Welcome back to Aetheral Space 1.18.
The final chapter of Arc 1?
Absolutely, yeah.
Will Bruno Del Cid ever accept Dragon?
We'll find out later, maybe not in this chapter.
Oh.
This chapter's him walking over and be like, hey Bruno, I know we've had our differences.
This has been unique for us. Thankfully Tan had the chapters written ahead of time. I got so invested after the 15 and 16 that I wanted to do the next two straight away on the same day. So this will be the fourth Aetheral Space.
Imagine having to wait for new chapters to come out.
Yeah, you can probably tell that it's like all in a row because like I think on the third one I kept like reading the words wrong, like wrist is waist, and I almost read something as shark once. So
My shark Aether, tiny electrical shark coiling around your body. That would actually be pretty cool.
It would be cool. I wonder if we'll ever see an Aether user who like makes summons with their Aether, like little not actual summons, but like figures. Yeah. All right. Take a quick sip of my Pure Aqua Belvy Bold Cherry Lime.
Take a sip of my Aether.
Okay. Minister Goalie surveyed his dominion from his ship. Kalis Breck was a travesty to look at. A burnt-out spot on the galactic map, but the money it brought in wasn't bad at all. The mining contracts, the farming potential, even the bribes local criminals paid to be overlooked made for a nice stipend. Previously, he'd had that income filtered through Raquel's greedy fingers, but that would be an issue no longer. There was the shadow of satisfaction there. Things hadn't gone as Goalie had planned at all, but he'd come out victorious anyway. Where intelligence had apparently not been enough, luck had instead prevailed. Well, that was fine. Goalie didn't much care how he won, so long as he was the last man standing. There was a beep from Goalie's desk, the communications channel opening. He smiled faintly to himself. He'd been expecting this, looking forward to it as much as someone like him could look forward to things. "I have him," came Muzazi's voice. "I'm bringing him in now." "Very good," purred Goalie, still looking out the window. Wait, what? Who does Muzazi have? Muzazi's failure had been more complete than he'd anticipated as well, but that was a splendid result too. Not only had he allowed a traitor to escape, but he'd failed to spot Raquel's treachery. His desire to redeem himself would be gargantuan. That was a string Goalie could pull with ease. Potential deployments for the special officer raced through Goalie's head. That business on Blacklight Station, the difficulties with Jin, the assassination of the UAP's Captain Pierrot. A toy Muzazi was a tool with so many possible uses, and now he was Goalie's tool. He smiled a thin, mirthless smile. Oh, this was a favorable situation. Goalie sat behind his desk as Muzazi marched the Lord Mayor in. The wretch's hands were tied behind his back, his face red with both outrage and terror. Wait, how do you get the Lord Mayor?
Well, there's been a little bit of a time skip here, we'll find out.
Okay. Almost certainly he knew what was coming. Goalie certainly hoped he did. After the distance had fled the system, using a light point set up by a local smugglers guild, they'd apparently left Raquel on Dionysus, a bombed-out ruin from the Thousand Revolutions. The Lord Mayor's dental implants had made him easy enough to track down and bring in once he was stationary. No doubt Muzazi had been hoping to take down the traitors at the same time, but he'd been disappointed. "Mr. Raquel," said Goalie, smiling softly, "a pleasure to see you again. I was saddened when I couldn't get in contact with you on Breck Core." "The complex was under attack," blustered Raquel. I had other concerns." "Of course, I understand completely. I hope you didn't suffer too much during your captivity, Mr. Raquel. That would pain my heart." Raquel looked away. "They were brutal," he said. "But I endured. That's what the supremacy is all about. We endure." Quietly behind Raquel, Muzazi nodded. Clearly he was the kind of person who could be swayed by pretty words. That was good to know. "You're so right," said Goalie. "So right. We endure, no matter what it takes. Is that something you'd agree with?" Raquel furrowed his brow. "What?" "It would make me happy if you answered the question. Would you agree that the supremacy endures, no matter what it takes?" Slowly, as if trying to work out the catch, Raquel nodded. "Yes, of course. Victory is all. Victory is all, yes. But what concerns me, Mr. Raquel, is whose victory concerns you." Raquel answered haltingly. The supremacy's victory, of course. I am a faithful servant." "The supremacy's victory," mused Goalie, nodding slowly. "A faithful servant. I see. These are pleasant noises coming out of your mouth, Mr. Raquel, but I must be honest. I think you're lying to me." The Lord Mayor paled. "That's ridiculous," he whispered. You think so? But you haven't even heard my reasoning. I'd like for you to indulge me." Raquel didn't respond to that. He knew that any more words would only hurt him. Sadly, however, staying silent wouldn't do him any good either. "Now that we've confirmed that Dragon Hadrian was indeed a traitor," Goalie continued, steepling his fingers, "it makes me wonder about the loyalty of other personnel under my command. I'm sure you can understand my concern, can't you? The people beneath myself are like my children. Their sins are my sins. If any of them were found to be disingenuous in their loyalty, it would reflect quite badly on me, wouldn't it? That would sadden me. Do you understand? Raquel nodded. I'm a scapegoat, then. A scapegoat? Goldie cocked his head. No. You are quite legitimately a traitor, I'm afraid. I've obtained quite a deal of information from your son's testimony to that effect. The Lord Mayor looked up, eyes wide. My son, he said, breathless. Prescott's alive. Goldie nodded. Last time I checked, yes. When I asked, he told me about a business relationship between yourself and a local criminal called the Hyena. You were allowing this miscreant to do whatever he pleased, from what I understand. Pardon me, but I'm still speaking. It seems to me, just from where I'm sitting, that we must put your loyalty into question, and that is a question I feel I can answer. You are a traitor, Mr. Raquel. Raquel gritted his teeth. You can't just decide that on your own, he growled, voice low. As a matter of fact, I can. That is my role. Your role is to gracefully suffer the consequences of your betrayal. The man rose to his feet, his chair clattering to the floor behind him. His face was twisted into scarlet indignation, his voice a high-pitched fury. Now, listen here, Coley! I have friends in the body! Powerful friends who'll... There was the sound of slicing air, and Raquel stopped talking. He looked down, brow furrowed in confusion, at the blade protruding from his chest. Flickering white light shone from between the bloodstains on the sword's surface. A toy Muzazi stood behind Raquel. He had run the man through, just as Goli had directed. Nothing personnel, Raquel. Raquel mumbled, shaking hand reaching for the sword going through him. He never said another word. With a grunt of effort, Muzazi pulled the sword free, and Raquel tumbled down to the floor, thoroughly terminated. Goli winced as a spatter of blood landed on the surface of his desk, then glanced down at his rival's corpse. What a stupid look on his face, he mused, cocking his head. You'd think you'd make an effort to have a dignified expression if you knew you were going to die. Perhaps he hoped for a reprieve, said Muzazi quietly. You think so? If that's the case, he was more idiotic than I thought. Muzazi didn't say anything to that. He only continued to stare down at the corpse on the floor, at the crimson puddle rapidly spreading around it, before sheathing his blade. Goli glanced at the swordsman. I wouldn't let it trouble you, Mr. Muzazi, he said soothingly. If the man wasn't a traitor, he was incompetent enough that he might as well have been. His death is a boon for the supremacy. I suppose. Of course you do. You're a bright young man. Affirmation and shame in equal measure, those were the levers that controlled people like the toy Muzazi. I know for a fact he was a traitor, Muzazi continued.
Why got an accent now?
I don't know, sorry. I know for a fact he was a traitor, Muzazi continued. His son lied to me many times, and I believed him, but by the end he was in no state to continue his falsehoods. I see. Well, that will be all for now. Goli turned to his script, already tapping away. With Raquel dead, he had a great many things to arrange. His successor, for one. He'd need someone he had a tight hold on to act as his proxy in Breckcore, and there were only a few candidates with the necessary experience. Saxton, maybe, or perhaps Timor. He told me of a great many things. Muzazi was still talking for some reason, his voice quiet to Goli's uninterested ears. Mr. Prescott was superb in his duplicity. The information he had gained access to be frank, I couldn't believe it. Oh, he's about to fucking execute Goli. I couldn't believe it at first. That's so, said Goli, scrolling through economic reports on his script. He'd need to make some adjustments to taxes on the other planets in the Kalis system, but that would be fine. Raquel would serve as a fine example for the Lord Mayors on the other two worlds if they thought about protesting. He knew about the Lord Mayor, Muzazi continued, but he also knew about you. Goli paused, finger hovering over his script. That last sentence from Muzazi hadn't fit his expectations. Goli looked up. Excuse me? Muzazi stepped forward, over Raquel's body. There was a stern look in his eyes. You told me about your intentions regarding Dragon Hadrian, how you'd intended for me to fail in my mission, how you intended for me to disgrace myself from the beginning. That's absurd, said Goli calmly. You'd believe the nonsense rambled by a traitor. Yes, I confirmed these things many times with him in many different ways. Muzazi took another step forward, leaving a bloody footprint behind. Goldie sighed, rubbed the bridge of his nose. You must understand, Mr. Musashi, that for people in my position, it's vital that we make full use of every resource at our disposal. That, of course, includes our personnel. Any actions I took were in the interest of ensuring you achieve your full potential in this matter, and for bringing about the best possible resolution to this situation, for both you and myself. This confrontation was irritating, but not especially concerning. Musashi was a gullible sort, and a few pretty words that appealed to his sense of duty would go a long way. Outrage came easy to these types, but could be dispelled just as quick if you knew what you were doing. I understand completely, sir. Musashi nodded. Sorry, my throat's really messed up. The tension in Goldie's shoulder that he hadn't even realized was there eased. He went back to his script. Now that Musashi's ego was soothed, he could get back to important matters. However, Musashi continued, the fact remains that you attempted to manipulate me as well. I'm afraid I cannot permit that, sir. Goldie looked up from his script again, ready to correct Musashi's arrogance, but stopped short just before he spoke. His eyes widened. Musashi's sword was in his hand again, pale aether shining out of it like moonlight. Now hold on just a moment there, boy, Goldie said, quietly getting out of his seat and backing up a little. Let's not do anything rash here. I am your superior officer. This is literally a so it's treason then situation. Incorrect, sir, said Musashi, walking around the desk and approaching Goldie unnervingly quickly. As a special officer, I operate outside the conventional command structure. While I have obeyed your orders until now, I am by no means obligated to. Goldie thumped into the window, running out of room to move back. He held up a placating hand. No, think about this. There'll be no benefit in this for you, no profit. Consider your actions. Come now. I have considered them thoroughly, sir, said Musashi, raising his sword overhead. Please don't be concerned. I informed a cleaning crew before coming here. This wasn't fair. This was absurd. This is outrageous. This was absurd. He couldn't die in such a stupid, idiotic way. After all the machinations and contingencies, he'd be killed by the temper tantrum of some wannabe warrior? It made no sense. Who did Musashi think he was? Their eyes met. Goldie understood who Atoy Musashi was. He was a sleeping bear, and Goldie had shook him awake, thinking him a dog. Did you enjoy it? Asked Musashi, deathly quiet. Making puppets out of people. The sword came down. For the first time in his life, Minister Goldie felt fear. And then he felt nothing at all. Okay, that was really badass, but at the same time, I get Musashi has the rights to do this, but how the fuck are they now the two commanding officers of this whole, planet? What the fuck are they supposed to do about that? Created a problem, Musashi.
Musashi Angie.
All the people who could be leaders are dead.
The strongest will now survive.
Musashi takes over as dictator of Breckcore.
So I'm going to sail it after Dragon Hadrian.
He just attaches thrusters to the entire planet. Did you think mere objects were the limit of my power?
Did you think mere space could defeat me, Dragon Hadrian?
I will shatter the stars, spread their dust over my kingdom. Dude, Atoy Musashi's so badass. I love him. I wanted a Atoy Musashi fucking figure. Dude, when are you gonna get concept art mocked up for these characters? I want to see what they look like. I'm so invested.
I would really love to. If anyone can recommend any artists, we'll
I know
take
plenty of artists. There's an artist I know that I used to get mock-up art for the visual novel I'm working on. He does pretty good work. I also know this guy. I haven't heard from him in a while. I shouldn't talk about this in the video.
Yeah, maybe not.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed again. I am fucking loving this. I cannot wait for more. On the edge of my seat, invested. I genuinely love the story of these characters. And it feels good because it's a real book, right? There's no pictures. It's not a manga or a comic. This is the first time I've read a book that I like in years.
Thank you.
Oh, it feels so good. Tanhony, you've made me a happy man.
Thank you. But did you enjoy it? Making videos out of people?
I did. I loved it so much. Making puppets out of people, that's the fucking line we should use in Among Us if we ever do that again. Did you enjoy it, imposter?
Did you enjoy it? Doing your tasks.
Oh, there's so many quotable moments too, and that's great. There's so many moments I could see being memed or quoted.
Imagine Rick Ailes being a Lord Merboy, and then you get a text saying Dragon Hadrian's coming down, and a day later you're dead.
So
a day later some fucking samurai kills you.
What happened is Atoy Musashi came to this planet and he eviscerated everything wrong with it, like a surgeon precisely cutting out tumors.
Without he walked in like, I want to find Dragon Hadrian, and he killed everyone but Dragon Hadrian.
Yeah. Oh my god. I can't wait for the reveal where Toy moves out. He's like, Hadrian, I am your father. You just didn't know it before.
Thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, bye.
Bye.